Hi there, I'm Dana Lamoureux. Welcome to Continuing the Care. I thought I probably should tackle a nutrition-related topic since that is my background. So one of the comments that I often get from residents and families is, do I need a nutrition supplement? So let's talk about that today. So, if you've ever watched TV, a lot of the advertisements for nutrition supplements, which shall remain nameless, have people who are leading very active lives, young, healthy, out in the mountains, doing all these athletic endeavors and chugging down some nutrition supplement, which probably leads a lot of people to ask the question, do I need more than what I'm getting through food? I can pretty unequivocally say, if you are young, if you are healthy, if you are of the socioeconomic class that allows you to go skiing and biking and hiking, then you probably are in a group of people that doesn't need a supplement, likely. However, as we get older, there are conditions and situations which happen. Sometimes there are diseases which raise our metabolism, which might mean that you need a supplement. Nutrition is a science for sure, but there is definitely an art, and there's a lot of factors that the dietitian has to consider in determining whether or not a nutrition supplement is actually necessary. So it's sort of part science and part art. So before I give any nutrition information or recommendations, I need to put in the caveat that your situation or your loved one's situation is going to be individual and is going to be specific to them. So please don't take this as your personal medical advice. Please talk to the dietitian on your care team. If you don't have one on site, please ask for a referral or speak to your doctor if a dietitian is not available. One of the factors that we use, and it's a very ballpark figure, is looking at a person's BMI or body mass index. For younger individuals, the healthy quote unquote range is 18.5 to about 24.9. For older individuals, age 65 and older, we use a slightly higher range. There's a little bit of discrepancy in what range is most appropriate, but usually somewhere around 22 to 29. So what is your BMI? I'm going to put a link below, so if you want to figure out what that number is, you can go ahead to a calculator and figure it out. Having said that, there's a lot of controversy around using BMI because some people take it as gospel and it's not meant to be used that way. There are people, for example, really bulky bodybuilders who have a lot of muscle mass, maybe they're a little bit shorter in stature, and so their weight for their height is indicative, if you just looked at the number, that they might be obese, when in fact they're not. So please take your BMI with a huge grain of salt. It's just a number, and it may not really actually give a lot of clinically helpful information. But the BMI is a place that we sometimes start, where if you have a very low BMI, that tends to mean that you might be underweight and might need a little bit of supplementation. Other factors to consider might include, is your appetite decreasing? Do you have a temporary condition that makes eating really difficult? Maybe you have to have some teeth extracted. Maybe your dentures aren't fitting very well right now. Maybe you get to meals and it's just exhausting and you can't finish everything on your plate because chewing is a lot harder work than it used to be. Maybe your schedule is such that you're sleepy in the morning, or you go to bed early, or you need a nap from 10 till 2 and you miss lunch. So are meals being skipped? Those are all things that we might consider when looking at whether or not a nutrition supplement is appropriate or not. As I mentioned, there are several medical conditions and diseases that might also give you increased requirements. So cancer is a big one, where we have higher metabolic rate and higher nutrition requirements than otherwise. Other things like Parkinson's disease, Lou Gehrig's disease, COPD. There's lots of different situations where our muscles and our bodies just require more energy. Then there's also things like wounds, skin tears. Does our skin need to be healing? Are there sores and surgery sites that require extra energy for healing processes? Those things all need to be considered too. One of the big factors that we also look at, though, is what is your usual body weight? What has your weight been doing over time, over the last few months, over the past few years? And is that weight loss significant? Now, we have clinical measures about what is significant weight loss and what isn't, but you can think very, I guess, practically about whether you're noticing strong and large amounts of weight loss. Are you finding that your clavicles stick out a lot more? Or maybe your temples are a lot more sunken in? Maybe perhaps your clothes are fitting in a much more baggy way and everything is big where it didn't used to be. All of those sorts of things, if you or your family notice that, that is something to bring to the dietitian's or the doctor's attention to see if there's something significant that needs to be addressed. So the grand scheme picture is really, I would say, largely around what your weight usually is and what your weight is currently doing, going up or down. And from that, we can decide whether or not you actually do need any sort of a supplement. Wherever we can, we try to address these things with food first. It's always more enjoyable if you can just have an extra scoop of potatoes or an extra helping of meat rather than taking a nutrition drink. But if that's not going to be feasible for whatever reason, then a nutrition supplement might be for you. Hope this was helpful, but remember, discuss it with your dietitian on site. Thank you.